Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Jakub and I would like to welcome you to our presentation. So, our challenge consisted of coming up with an energy community located somewhere in Prague. Now, an energy community is a collection of houses, of buildings that produce solar or wind power or some other type of renewable energy to produce their power. They do it for the benefit of the people living there, for the businesses there, and for the people visiting the community. And our challenge was to find such a suitable location in Prague. So, we found such a suitable location. Many of you might have already visited it. Some of you might have it close to heart. Of course you know what I'm talking about. It's Strahov. Now, I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes talking about why we believe that Strahov is the ideal and best place for such a community in Prague. And I believe that you will believe me at the end of our presentation as well. Now, I'm Jakub. I will talk a bit about the technical aspect and some of the calculation and modeling that we did. And then Honza will take over the people aspect and talk about the impact and the great benefits that this would bring to the inhabitants in the area. Okay, so what did we do? We took a bunch of data from various different sources, which we credited at the end, and we looked at several different aspects to analyze. First, the regulatory burden, because you can't construct and change anything if the regulations don't permit it. Next, we looked at the energy requirements to make sure that we really understand the task at hand. We then looked at some statistics and area requirements to make sure everything fits in place. And then we looked at the infrastructure and how our community could grow. We then looked at the financials, which I believe will really blow you away. Now, the regulatory burden. As you know, there are 3 special historical reservations in Prague. Strahov is quite good in this aspect because it's in the lesser regulation zone, which leaves us worried about one single thing, and that's the views from the heights in this case. The views from the heights is the view from the Petřín Tower, and we're very happy because the Prague Council does give a recommendation, and that is flat solar panels, which is exactly what we choose for our production of energy solution. So, now let's look at the energy requirements. So, if you look at this graph, you see there's something off. Like most energy is consumed in winter, and not really much is consumed in summer, which is an issue for solar panels. But not for Strahov for some reason. It produces almost a flat, it consumes almost a flat manner with a little peak in the middle. So what we did, we looked at a very precise hour-by-hour model, which is not something usually done for solar energy models. And we discovered something really interesting. For all months, there is this big peak at the peak hours that solar produces. And this is especially true for month number 6. By the way, that little down, you can see there's like hourly production throughout every hour in the month. And this closely matches for every single month the production of our solar panels. So again, a fantastic solution. Now, we looked at the statistics. We talked to people at SUS to see that this would really work. And we actually identified more than 4,000 panels which you could put on there at 15 total roofs, totally production of 1,460 megawatt, 1,600 megawatt hours, doesn't matter, covers 41% of all energy usage, hour by hour. This is really, really, really accurate, not something you would usually do for a solar model. Anyway, this is again 41%, lots of gigatons saved, we don't care. We care that we have some extra surplus energy. What do we use it for? We put in batteries, we install PV chargers, which we put here on the parking lot, and we expand to the neighborhood and we sell it to the grid. We bring to the next point. The CTU location of these dorms has a very, very special grid. It has a locally administered grid. This means that any solar produced there can be treated as in one house, and it doesn't put load on the wider electric grid. It impacts a lot of people, over 4,500 staff, and there's a great potential of growth. In phase number 2, we would expand to the communities south and east to include them in our energy community. So what are the takeaways? I've shown the existence of a unique solar-matched, high-impact possibility to introduce local energy communities in Prague with great expandability, with a low grid burden, with high variable gains by installation. And this provides a great model target for where to look for other of these communities, for PRE and all the companies doing these. By the way, all of this is in your hands, judges. You have these case studies in front of you, which you can just take, copy, feel free to do so, and just put some extra a few 100 million Czech crowns for building this project into PRE's hands. You're welcome. And now I will hand over to Honza. Thank you very much. Speak loudly.
Okay, so I will switch to this one. So, how it will look like in reality? How it will change Strahov, Prague, and how much it will cost. In first stage of our project, we decided to change the blue areas, and we have already told you about the solar panels. So now let's look at the blue parking lot. We are looking forward to change that to EV hub for electric vehicles. That would include community cars. Community cars would give a prior right to members of the community to take a car, to borrow it, even for a whole weekend. Imagine you as an Erasmus Plus student that you can borrow a car and go on a road trip with your friends, and it's for your disposal. In simple application, you can overview the range available and reserve the car. The members will be charged a small fee for the energy and time spent. From Strahov community will benefit everyone, I'm not kidding. For most of the students, it is the first housing ever independent. And there will be 1,000 students who got to live the experience of Strahov community every year and maybe later decide to found their own independent community and spread by this dissemination to other localities of Prague and motivate other communities to grow. But there is more. One rooftop that cannot fully support the weight of the solar panels will be dedicated for research and development center for the UCEEB, which is Central for Energy Efficient Buildings. They could measure and test their gear in real conditions, and this corresponds with the future plan for Strahov Stadium. There are some costs. We calculated with the price of the EV hub and solar panels and all necessary changes. We expect to be over 2 million in plus in 25 years, which is the guarantee of the production of the solar modules. Over 30 years, we expect the return on investment to be 46%. It seems that 17 years is too much, but don't worry, this is the worst case scenario. We have just received an invoice or a quotation for the installation of the solar panels, which is much lower, and it would greatly influence the profitability. The Strahov Hill has 2 stadiums on it that are about to go under a huge renovation, and we don't want to be the black dot on this canvas. The Strahov community will be scalable and has a high potential to spread. Let's make Strahov a place where dreams come true and ideas could spread to any village in Czechia or to the whole world. We would like to thank the PRE for communication, consultation, and all of the data. PVGIS was vital for our solar models. We would like to thank Mr. Matyášek from Malá Elektromobilita that consulted us and gave us documentation, and Mr. Boháček from Management of Dedicated Facilities from SUS that gave us consultation and all the documentation. Thank you for your attention, and we welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Since everybody's living in Strahov, there must be many questions, but please.
Don't be shy.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation and for the enthusiasm. My question would be more on the ROI, because you mentioned a specific ROI. I appreciate that. Did you also take into account the life expectancy of solar panels? That is
Yes, actually, we were super conservative. So we consulted the life expectancy of solar panels. As you know, there's currently solar panels out in space, which still work. And we considered, back in our model, a slow decline in efficiency near the end. But the actually guarantee which we require, which the standard for new projects is 25 years. We calculated with 25 years, we expect the solar panels to at least 30, 35. What value did we calculate the ROI for? 30 years? 30 years. And we still expect the solar panels to outlive everything by another 10.
Okay, thank you.
Again, some kind of basic question. Have you thought about the statics of the buildings, static of the roofs? Because usually we have a problem to build somewhere these solar panels because of statics.
Yes, so actually we did consider this. We initially calculated with all the roofs, and then we actually paid a visit to Strahov and talked to the building managers there. And they showed us statics models and explained to us that actually only 11 of the 12 roofs can support this. And they have previously done the statics analysis for this specific problem. So we were able to incorporate that, and the one extra building we would use for the research and development center.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to thank the team. I think you went above and beyond throughout the whole process. And I would like to ask, maybe it's in your report, but I don't have the time to read it now. Since the dormitories will be producing some energy themselves, will this have any influence on, for example, the rent for the students? Will they be able to save some money from this?
Right, so this is up for discussion with CTU. That's not really our call to make. We would love if this would bring benefits to students, i.e. if they could save on the energy if they use it at peak times, for example. We would love if they could charge their EV vehicles for a reduced price. We would see these benefits as viable. The rest is up to CTU.
Thank you.
Any other questions? People who are not living in Strahov and now decide to move to Strahov, finally?
Please do.
Have you made, did you investigate the special, I would say, like, special relation between the months and consumption of energy on Strahov? You know that it's constant throughout the year.
Yes, so that is detailed in the papers. We don't have time to talk about it. I would be happy to talk about it. It's actually super, super interesting. You can see when exam season happens. You can see the first of New Year's. You can see, you can really see when the workers get up and what time students go to bed in which months. It's really, really cool.
Okay, I'll take a look later, if I can.
I think that Suze is talking about reconstructions like every year. Have you thought about this somehow? Because it's going to influence the consumption.
Yes, so they actually finished a large revitalization project. Maybe Honza can mention this.
There was ongoing project. There is one ECP project, which is great, that they have experience with that. They mentioned that one block is about to go, but nothing that would interfere. We had a great meeting that everything was mentioned, I believe, and
yes.
We took it into consideration.
We actually skip some other buildings which might get reconstructed in our calculations. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions, please? Then I have a question. Could we do Collider next year in Strahov?
That is a great question.
I can answer maybe.
Please do answer.
Yeah, like in Strahov there is a huge building, the Mensa Strahov, where the canteen is located. The canteen is on the ground floor, but the first floor is free for conferences. So maybe if you ask to the SUS managers, it may happen.
Also, if you want to cook for the whole CTU, the Strahov Mensa was originally designed to provide meals for absolutely everyone on every campus. So if you want to like cook for 30,000 people in one night, there's infrastructure for that. So maybe a CTU-wide collider with everyone involved.
Okay, we will take that into consideration. So, big round of applause for Dorm Power.
Thank you.